Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Off the Rails. I am your host, Austin Train. We are coming to you live from a new era of loneliness. Introducing for the very first time, AI Brian. Brian was getting a little extra, so I replaced him with Brian GPT.
I like it.
You like it? You know, I saw somebody made a AI of Chappelle talking about how one AI is better than another. Okay. And it was like, we're gonna make it so everyone gets their own personalized individual jokes. And it's like, that's not the point of comedy. The point of comedy isn't, well, the point of anything is not that you should just get exactly what you want all the time.
Yeah.
You go to see a thing and you're like, oh, that's an interesting thing. I wouldn't have thought of that. But it was like talking about how like something like Claude is better than Chat GPT. And I was like, Chappelle would never talk about that.
Yeah.
It's like Chappelle wouldn't be like, oh, cool, this nerd shit is better than the other nerd shit.
Well, I mean, when like Chat GPT was coming out, I'm like, okay, I tried it out. We talked about it. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be useful for me at all.
Yeah.
And then they're adding AI to like everything. It's like AI for Google. It's like, what about this result? I'm like, I'm typing something into Google because I know what I'm.
You getting worse results.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, hey, here's Zoom with AI. Why?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Anyways,
it's like, look, a lot of that shit. If you need help searching for things, is fine. But like replacing entertainment with just like, oh, you could make a movie. You could put Steven Seagal and Heath Ledger's Joker in a buddy cop movie in Thailand. It's like, this is you're just taking things from other things.
Yeah, that already exist.
And then it's like, oh, shouldn't this be individualized? Like the point of like you go see a comedy show is like you're all in it together. Mm-hmm. Like you're all a part of this experience. And it's like, no, what if instead of that, I could just sit in my room and I could AI everything. Everything would just be a phony version that I think I want, and then I make it, and then I'm like, oh. Part of like the process of creating anything is looking at it and being like, all right, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I made this. I put this together.
Yeah, and then some of the AI art or AI like video is getting nuts. Like when you upload to like YouTube now that they've added things, I'm like, hey, is there any AI like almost asking? Is there like deep fakes in this?
Yeah. Oh, is it asking?
Yeah, and so like. Yeah, we put up a
they
video.
Tried to so that there's a video of like Biden. It's like, yeah, like look, we all know that he doesn't know what's going. Like he doesn't really know what's going on a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and sometimes he does because like when you're like you have dementia, you can like hold through for like bit. Like you ever see The Aviator?
No.
With so Leonardo DiCaprio plays Howard Hughes, and Howard Hughes has like brutal OCD, and he can keep it together for like periods of time, and then like at the end of the movie, you see him like he holds it together, does a press conference, and then like he gets trapped in a room and he gets trapped in a circle of saying the same thing, and then it's like, yeah, when you have dementia, when you have mental illness. Like homeless people aren't always freaking out. They know what's going on sometimes, and then they like go back and forth. But there's a video of like Biden just like wandering off and looking the other direction when everyone else is like looking at something.
Yeah, and
then the White House was like, "Oh, it's a deep fake."
I do like that. You could say, "Oh, it was a deep fake. That wasn't me. I didn't do that."
Yeah, dude. That's what. If I ever get like caught doing something, I'm like, it's deep fake, dude.
It was a deep fake.
Oh, that cop's body cam is clearly deep faked.
I didn't reach for that cop's gun.
No. There's a video. I've been online a little too much. There's a video of a lady cop, a strong, independent female cop, just pulling a gun on a couple of people in a car.
Okay,
and then they drove off.
Yeah.
And then they're just throwing this list of charge, but like she was immediately ready to like draw her gun, and like you see the people that are just like,
Yosemite
what?
Sam up in there, just
you don't. Oh, I bet if a male cop said to get out of the car, you would do it. That's why I have to shoot you now.
I have to level.
I have to kill you because of my own projected feelings of insecurity.
I have to level the playing field.
You see this? Oh, you treat the male cops like this.
You treat the male cops with nothing but the utmost respect.
Yeah. Everyone loves male cops.
Austin, you're like, as much as you would hate cops, you're like, you gotta give it up to the guys. You're like, yes, sir.
Give it up to the fellas, dude. I don't hate cops. I am scared of them. Like Chappelle's a bit is like I hate cops. I'm scared of them because it's like you might hear an acorn drop and shoot me. Like I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Like you might get administrative leave, you might get lose your job. I'm dead because you got scared.
Yeah.
In a situation where it's like, yeah, I'm scared. You don't think I'm scared?
Yeah.
I'm scared a lot of the time. Sometimes you just got to figure it out.
Yeah, and then just the idea that's like, okay, if you have a gun, it's like, okay, you should have more of your shit together and not just be on edge. So it's not the same, but it's like
drinking 50 Starbucks coffees on your shift.
Just 18 rock stars.
Yeah.
And it's 8 a.m.
Getting amped listening to Drake. You're right, Drake. It is God's plan. No, I'm not. I don't hate. I don't hate them. It's just it is scary because I think the more they see videos of them killing people, the more they're like, oh, people are gonna want to kill us.
They're like, damn, why wasn't that me?
Yeah. No, it is add to the fear when people are afraid of you. Like when people are afraid of you, you also become stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want to die because you got scared. Also it's like I'm 35 and white.
Yeah.
Dude, I drive. Dude, the other day I was driving like crazy and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, this rules. They used to fuck with me so much as a kid and now they're just like, yeah, that guy's.
He's cool.
That guy's probably just going through it with his fucking, he's going through his alimony payments. Little do they know.
Yeah, they all ball and chain at
home.
All
ball and anytime I get pulled over, I'm just like, it's my wife.
The wife.
Fellas.
And he's like, exactly. And
he's like, oh no, you're no.
He's like, all right, have a good one, man. And then cans of beer fall out of your car. It's like,
he's like,
he's going through it today.
Dude. Those are Coors Light. You could drink 8 of those and be fine.
My boss is busting my chops. He's like, oh God, always.
My kids, they said they have the autism. They're non-binary now.
You just throw out.
You think if you had autism, you'd be super into binary because it's like computer code.
Yeah. Yes.
So. Oh yeah. God damn it. The young comics got me to come out with them.
Okay.
And then we were hanging out at the club, and there was this girl I was hanging out with, and it was sort of it's one of those things. Was oh, this plausible deniability, but maybe there's plausible deniability dates.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Oh, this is nothing,
but it could be.
But it could be if it goes well. But if it doesn't, if it goes bad, dude, it's nothing.
But you just do. But what if?
But what if?
Yeah, exactly.
But no stress. But maybe And I went out with the comics, and we went to this. They were like, dude, my buddy knows a guy. And, they're like, oh, he can get us in. And then they all went, and then we, showed up later, and they were like, yeah, he knows a guy. He got us in. We just walked right in.
Yeah.
We just walked, and it was an Irish pub.
Yeah. So it's not.
It was an Irish pub where they're doing, they have a dance floor, and I'm like, this is not the vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a bar. I think
they're having an AA meeting at, the Silver Spigot, the ultimate trailer park dive bar.
Yeah.
And then it's this does not compute. This doesn't fit. And then I started dancing. I'm like, let me just try to have fun. And I fucking slipped and fell.
No.
Yeah, dude, it was bad. And then the girl I was hanging out with just took off.
Whose uncle is this? Get him out of here.
And that one hurt. But I was like, all right, I'm just never doing this again.
Was it just an accident, or were you a little?
No, I slipped on purpose because
too drunk.
No, I wasn't. You know what? I'm gonna stop drinking again because it was bad. I was got to the night where I'm drunk and I'm like, oh, I feel really bad right now.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna keep drinking. I'm gonna drink my way out of this, and that did not happen.
Yeah,
but no, there was a wet spot, and I was dancing backwards.
fuck put this
And then just
banana
ate
peel
shit.
here?
Yeah, somebody hit me with a blue shell.
Donkey Kong
Dude,
did
I was,
that shit.
I was tearing up the dance floor, and then I got hit with a blue shell. It's fucking game over.
I was getting jiggy with it.
No,
with the young comics.
That sucked. And then I was like, yeah, I'm just never gonna talk to women again. I'm just never gonna say anything to another woman. But did a show last night. It was pretty good. Mm-hmm. In Vista, and my friend was like talking about like Vista is North County, San Diego.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I've never had a bad show in Vista." And I'm like, "Okay,
I've never had a show in Vista."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done shows there, and maybe some places like the audiences are better, probably. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I never thought of that. It's such a particular, specific thing.
Yeah. There's definitely scenes and pockets in North County for sure that, and there's like things like people who like work in North County, live in North County. They're like, I'm not coming down to like, to like San Diego area. Yeah. For like anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, suburban communities, that's the thing, is like they can be just like self-contained. Mm-hmm. And I guess like in heavy urban areas, you take the train and shit places, but it's like, yeah, they have their own city. Mm-hmm. It's just like next to a much larger city.
Yeah.
I went to Minneapolis. We didn't talk about this.
Yeah.
So we had a special guest on the last podcast. Mm-hmm. I went to Minneapolis. I took my grandma to see her sister, and it was cool because
how was it? You went to some baseball games, had some shows.
I did one show. I went to one baseball game. Mm-hmm. I took my grandma there, and they surprised her sister. So we're going there. We're flying. Our flight is delayed on the tarmac for like 2 hours.
Oh shit!
Yeah, every time we're about to take off, like a strong tailwind or something would like come, or low visibility. I think it was a tailwind.
It's like, yeah.
You want to get a headwind. You know what I'm saying? You want to get some fucking. You want to get some brain wind. You know what I mean? You guys get some brain wind so you can take off.
Yeah.
Fucking thrusters, dude.
Well,
when you get a tailwind, then you got to turn off the engine.
Yeah, because that
I haven't figured out how to make that sexual yet. Yeah. But I will. That's when you put your dick in like a cold bowl of water,
cold plunge just on your balls,
turn down the engine, do a cold plunge on my penis.
I've been trying to do like cold like showers. I can only get like maybe less than 30 seconds.
Oh no, I do cold showers, especially during the summer. It's too hot.
I do like
my body radiates heat.
I'm not like freezing.
That's why I
like,
spit hot fire.
Yeah, not freezing cold, but I'll do like, I don't know, just room temp showers.
Yeah,
you can get it, right there down.
Oh no, I do ice cold. I do as cold as possible.
I try and do that too much of a pussy. I'm like, because I'm just like
I run hot.
Okay, yeah.
So if I take a hot shower, I'm like I start to get faint. It's so gay.
Yeah,
I started to get faint, and it was like, oh, I have the vapors.
The vapors.
I'm verklempt.
Yeah, a fan.
I do declare.
And then, but no, it's getting hotter in San Diego. It's finally summertime.
It's summertime. I get summertime depression. I get seasonal depression, but reverse.
Yeah.
And I'm such a unique, special person.
I'm unique.
I don't know. Somebody else has to go through it. I think the heat just makes me anxious, but then lethargic.
It pisses me off. I'll be like getting night sweats. I like wake up like sweating. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I digress. Sorry. You were in Minneapolis.
It's in Minneapolis. So the plane gets delayed 2 hours. I'm taking my grandma through the airport. So when you have like your parents or the elderly and you're taking care of them, mm-hmm. It's a lot like having a child who is, sometimes gets a little racist, who you also ask for money. It's like having a child. It's like being the father of a child star. You just have to ask them for money sometimes.
You got to get her to the right terminal, but also like, can I have $20?
Yeah. I want to go buy a comic book.
A comic book and a fucking.
I saw a cool Sonic the Hedgehog keychain at the gift shop. Can I have $50 and then you just buy drugs with the rest of it?
You just keep it. Yeah. It's like, where's the change? No, there was no change.
Oh yeah, this is a collector's item. It's gonna appreciate in value.
I tipped them. You pocket $10.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I tried to do that one time when I was a kid. My uncle was like really good with kids, mm-hmm. And I went to the snack bar, and I remember like I got my second snow cone of the day.
Yeah,
like, snow cone, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. And then he saw me come back with it, and then I got some other food, and then he made me take it back.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't ask, and he just like he got down like on one knee and looked me in the eyes. Is like, we're giving this back because you didn't ask. And then the guy's like, "Do you want your money back?" And he's like, "No, I don't care about that." He just like taught me a lesson.
And it probably put whoever like kid was at the snack bar, just put him out because he's like, well, what the fuck do I do with this product? And then he's just like,
he gets to eat it.
And the uncle's like, I'm teaching this 5-year-old a lesson.
Yeah, you just eat it or throw it. I mean, it's also not food; it's just sugar. Like that's the thing is like a lot of our food isn't food, so people are like, we're wasting food. And it's like we're literally just wasting chemicals.
Yeah. This cotton candy is my dinner.
Yeah. Oh, we're just gonna let all this cotton candy go to waste.
There's starving kids in Africa.
There's starving children in Africa who love to be malnourished with this bizarre web-like substance.
This high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, it's not food. Like sometimes old people save like packets of ketchup, and it's like this is not food.
Yeah,
we aren't. We're not in Mad Max yet. You can't. I mean, you could eat this. But we don't need to, and it's not. It doesn't last forever. This isn't a can of beans.
Yeah, no, I'll do that with like hot sauce packets from like Jack in the Box.
That's why I always ask them like, don't give me any packets. Like I do not. I don't like. You're just giving me more trash to everyone because people try to give me stuff and I turn them down a lot. And I'm like, it's not personal. I just have too much stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just accumulating, because it's so easy to just accumulate shit.
Stuff, yeah.
And you're looking at like, what can I throw away? And then you have t-shirts and like my friend gave me this t-shirt, but I never wear it.
Yeah.
Should I just get rid of it? That it's a tough that's a tough one because like t-shirts sometimes have certain items have emotional value where it's like I don't wear this, but it was a gift from someone.
Yeah.
And then people are always just trying to give you more shit.
Yeah, no, I think we talked about it. I'm like, I have like 8 t-shirts, and then I have like another like maybe 10 or so for work.
Yeah.
Which at work, I mean, like I'm there 5 days a week. I'm just wearing my work shirt.
Yeah.
So when I was off on a staycation or not working for a week and a half or so, I was like, I could do laundry, but also I don't have any shirts to wear if I was going to go out to like grocery store or run errands. I'm like, you know what? I can just wear my work shirt.
Yeah.
I
have so many comedy store shirts.
Yeah.
And I just like, I don't want to get rid of them, but I just have too many shirts.
Yeah.
And like somebody said you got to get down to 15. And I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to do that? I guess I got to get rid of like my band shirts that are all like crusty and they have like blood on them from being in mosh pits.
Yeah. Or if you got like those pit stains from like deodorant.
Yeah, white shirts. There's one white shirt I bought from a band that you went on tour and I was
cool shirt. Yeah.
It was a cool shirt, but then the pit stains are brutal.
Yeah.
And the shirt's still good. It's just the sleeves are just yellow.
That's so good. But that's just what it is.
But I can just cut the sleeves off.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm going to do that.
That's a summer shirt.
That's a summer shirt, dude.
Hot boy summer.
Showing off a fucking biceps. Been going to the gym. So I digress. However, so, we're flying. I'm kind of exhausted. And then I let the guy at the rental car company kind of upsell me because we're using my grandma's credit card. And so I'm just exhausted. He's like, "Oh, we don't have the car. I wanted a RAV4." And like, "Well, we don't have that. We have a Toyota 4Runner." And I was like, "It's at seat 7."
Yeah.
I'm like, "I don't want a huge. I don't want a huge car."
Yeah.
And then I got a BMW. Just rolling around.
I didn't want a big car, so I decided to get a Porsche.
Well, it's not exactly the level of a Porsche,
I know.
But it was a nice car, and I felt cool driving it around. But I just like took my grandma to Dunkin' Donuts in a BMW.
Yeah,
I'm going to White Castle in a BMW.
Yeah, flexing on.
I'm like, give me this whole store, motherfucker.
Put the whole store on the card.
Also, people hate on In-N-Out, and White Castle exists. So In-N-Out, like regional burger chains people like to shit on, but it's like, In-N-Out. Look, why are we shitting on In-N-Out when White Castle exists?
Haven't had a White Castle.
It's bad.
It's just
it's complete junk food. They're like little sliders that like the meat patties are like so small. It looks like some shit you'd buy from 7-Eleven. And like the fries are fine.
Yeah,
I guess they do onion rings, but it's like this is not.
Yeah.
Why do we shit on In-N-Out? Because it's not as big as like a Whataburger, but it's like White Castle exists.
Well, but like a
Five Guys is not that good. Five Guys is like expensive and not that good.
it's all. I mean, in and
It
outs.
isn't relative, Brian. These people need to be brought to heel.
Yeah, I mean,
for disrespecting.
In and Out's rad, and then Whataburger's good too. Like when in Texas, I'm like, I try it. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's pretty. I'm like, why? I don't. People like to like create beefs that are just not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, which is better? I mean,
the hot take machine is at it again.
Yeah, it's like for I'm trying to think of like for guitar, it'd be Gibson or Fender. I'm like, you can like both.
Yeah.
Like or. Trying to think of something else. Cameras, Sony or Canon.
People
you can like fucking both.
People identify with brands.
Yeah, like I'm a Whataburger guy. I'm like, well, you can just be a guy.
What about a Hua Burger, where we make burgers out of people? It's like the sequel to Soylent Green.
I thought you said
Hua Burger.
Hua, but it's a bunch of Huas going in there.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of topless chicks in the kitchen. You're like, this is some nipple hair in the onion ring.
There's a bunch of Huas in here.
A bunch of Huas.
Yeah,
that would definitely not be up to code.
Yeah.
What about a Why Burger, where you're sent on an existential quest? Discover who you are whilst you're looking for a burger.
Why a burger?
Why a burger?
Like, why am I eating here? Boom, got him.
Yeah, got him.
Hello.
And so, so I got in BMW.
So go in the Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
We went to go to Dunkin'. We what did we do? I did a Don't Tell show, and I the day before I go to see my cousin who has ALS. Like right before I do the show.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like emotionally exhausted. I mean, it sounds so dumb, but it's like this is the first time I ever met this guy. I took my grandma and my aunt to go see him. And then I went to go do a show, and I was like, oh, I feel weird. I feel fucking weird right now. I drove 40 minutes to do this show. We were staying in a place called Rosemont, and then there's a place called Roseville. And I was like, well, they're probably right next to each other.
They got
It's like they gotta be. Like, why did you put all the roses in a row? Like that's
San Diego, San Jose, they gotta be right.
Yeah. Why is it so far away?
Do you have like friends who are not from California? They just think like, hey, I'm stopping by. I'm coming to California for a trip. And I'm like, where are you? I'm like, San Jose. I'm like, it's not even fucking close to San Diego. I'll never see it. Bye.
Yeah.
Enjoy your trip.
Yeah. I was gonna. I went to the Don't Tell show.
How was it?
It was a good show. It was like a game place, but like for board games. And so they had a lot of like Kish kind of like nerdy shit, but they had a little event room in the back.
Yeah,
and it was like a cool spot. But there was like a comic. I guess there was a contest there, and like a lot of the guys who had like lost or who had been eliminated.
Yeah.
They were doing the show, and one guy just came up to me, was like riffing really hard, and I was like, he asked me to like do something, to be a part of his act, to like read something out from the back, and I was like,
nah.
He was kind of, I don't know, he's been a little, like, his energy was a little much for me at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then he kept trying to riff with me. I'm just like, I'm just not. I'm not into this. Because sometimes comics are just on all the time. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Can you just be normal? I don't know you. I don't want to riff with you.
Or like,
my mom told me not to riff with strangers.
I need to bust my balls all the time.
No, but I don't know. It was a good show. I just was like, I felt so exhausted. Like, it's getting to the point where like my mental state, I have to like, I used to just try to do as much shit in a day as possible. And now it's like, all right, if I'm going to go do something like see a sick family member, I probably won't also try to do 3 shows in a night.
Okay,
I won't overextend myself. And then I took my cousins to a baseball game. Yeah, the Twins. Twins got a nice target field. It's nice. As though out there it gets so cold they have skyways. So like between the buildings, there's walkways.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Was it? I was talking to Kyle about it because he was like, "Oh my god, trains in Minneapolis." So for his job, he did like a week or so of like training in Minneapolis, kind of right by the Mall of America, whatever that big ass mall is.
Yeah.
You're saying like, yeah. He's like, oh, I had to walk from the hotel to the mall. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. It's not that far. It's like 2 to 3 blocks or something like that. But it was during winter. And it just like, he was like, oh, here's I think it was like it was like 13 degrees.
It's like comparable to a lot of places in Alaska.
And he was like, what the fuck? He's like, I had a jacket and a hoodie on and stuff like that, but it just went right through it. And I'm like, man, I've never been in that cold. that much of a
No, yeah,
cold area.
that's like it's comparable to the temperatures in Alaska.
Yeah.
Is what I was reading.
That's nuts.
It was beautiful though. It was beautiful this time of year.
Yeah.
It was like overcast when we left, and then we got there, and it's lakes everywhere. So we're used to the water being one place. Lakes are like everywhere. A lot of like nice little spots. People are nice. Everyone drives like a bitch.
Really?
They drive so slowly, dude. I was like, I gotta be. So I'm just like a complete shithead. I'm like, driving around Minnesota. I'm going 90 in a BMW because you don't feel it. Some of those cars, you don't feel how fast you're going.
You're just the intimidator. You just Dale Earnhardt in there.
Dude, I had to buy these white sunglasses because I was like, it's so bright.
Yeah.
And I just have these like Elton John sunglasses. It's cruising around on my BMW. People are, like staring at me.
Like, who is this guy?
I'm the gay intimidator, dude.
Yeah.
I'm the ingeminator. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but it sounded good in my head.
Intimidate him.
Intimidate him. Yeah. Intimidate her. What about an intimidate him?
Yeah.
You should be scared of us.
Yeah. That tag was good.
History? What about they them story?
Yeah.
Everyone has to be included except for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like speeding.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I gotta slow down.
Yeah.
I for sure gotta slow down. I just had to, because I didn't even feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But went to the Twins game. Twins game was rad. The Twins won. So I picked them to play. I know you don't follow sports. I bought tickets. I was like, oh, they're playing the Colorado Rockies, which are like the worst team in baseball. Okay. So I was like, I don't want to go and see a game where like they lose to like a division rival, and then I have my family with me.
Yeah.
And then there's some White Sox fan. He's like, what's up, fucking pussy, dude? I'll come to.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not even from here.
Yeah.
But I took my cousins. We got real good seats. I took my cousin and her daughter, who's like, she plays softball, and then a couple cousins from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And one of them had never been to a baseball game.
Okay. Nice.
And so we don't, we sit next to each other, but like, we don't speak the same language at all.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he just starts mimicking me. I'm like, nice. And he's like, nice. It was so
like,
cute.
you're like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. I was like trying to talk. I was like, me quieres comida, like, you want me to bring you food? And I was like, I'm not getting it right. Well, I was like, tu quieres comida y bebida.
Yeah. If I talk slower or just use my hands
he understands
more,
what I'm saying, but it's like it's such basic use of the language.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I'm always amazed when anyone's bilingual. Because people get mad. I don't know. People get mad at Spanish speakers, and it's like, dude, you understand what he's saying. Like that's so hard if you don't really know the language. You're not fluent, but you're like communicating in it. It's like, it's like you're typing with your fingers almost.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like. It's like you're not like sitting down and typing like an actual typist. You're like pecking. You're like pecking and finding, but using your brain.
Oh, that's my move. That's how I go on typewriter or not typewriter, the keyboard.
You have to do that on a typewriter. Because like, you can't if you make mistakes on a typewriter, you have to like white it out because there's no backspace on a typewriter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was dope. We took him to the game. It feels so cool, like taking your family to a game. But it's funny because my cousin. So I am half white.
Yeah.
But a lot of my cousins very hot. They're very hot. They're attractive women. And I'm not that white, so I'm not into that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I know that, like, you know, this was. I had last seen this particular cousin in 2000 when she was pregnant with her first kid.
Yeah.
She's a smoke show. And she's a great lady, you know, like she, you know, but also she's very attractive. And so I'm walking in with her and her like younger daughter. And I'm like, I'm giving off real, like, mom's new boyfriend energy. Yeah. It's like a white dude with a Puerto Rican lady and her kid walking into the baseball game. You know what I'm saying? Like, this will win her over. This will win the kid over, dude. They're going to love me.
Kids are going to like this.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a beautiful city. It's very pretty and it's very clean. And people drive too slow.
It's a bunch of bubblegummers.
Is that what you call them? Bubble gummers?
But
sorry.
Not to bring it back to sports. You had mentioned Colorado Rockies. So like a whole state can just have a team, or they just
It's
relegate?
Denver, but it's just
okay. So
the Colorado Rockies sounds
they're not going to say
better.
okay. No.
Like certain teams,
Is it Arizona Diamondbacks?
yeah,
Or-
but they're
okay.
Phoenix.
Okay, but they're not
It's
gonna
just Arizona. The Phoenix Diamondbacks doesn't sound as good. New England Patriots is an entire region, but
Gotcha.
it's Boston. Like we know it's Boston.
Yeah.
It's just New England because it sounds. I think it's. I mean, they used to be the Boston Patriots or something. Carolina Panthers because it's both Carolinas. They have to share one football team.
So is it like Arizona or like Colorado just has the one baseball team?
No, so the way they name it is weird, and they change the name. So the Florida Marlins were the only team in Florida, and then they had the Tampa Bay Devil Rays,
Yeah.
and then they changed it to the Miami Marlins pretty recently. Also, the alliteration is fun.
Yeah.
So it was just the Florida Marlins. The Angels have been the Los Angeles Angels, and then they were. Then they moved to Anaheim, and then they were in Orange County. They were the California Angels.
So they're Anaheim now, right?
Well, fucking Brian, please. Class is in session.
Okay, yeah. Speak when spoken.
Brian, you're coming.
Raise your hand.
You're coming into Autism 101. Yeah. I am Professor Rain Man.
Yeah.
They were the LA Angels.
We call this Autism 101.
Los Angeles
Yeah.
Angels, the Angels.
Yeah.
And then they were the California Angels because they go to Orange County.
Yeah.
Because like the LA has the Dodgers.
And then the Charlie's
They're
Angels,
a huge team. Then they became the Anaheim Angels. They were owned by Disney. And
Really?
yeah, they were owned by Disney. Disney also owned the NHL's Anaheim Mighty Ducks because it was like from the movie.
Yeah.
And then they sold it. Now they're just the Anaheim Ducks, which is kind of bland. I like just the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they literally named a professional sports team after a kid's movie.
You play on this pro team, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, I play for the Cincinnati Airbuds.
the New York Space Jams.
Yeah, dude, fuck yeah. Oh, dude, that's the next WNBA team.
Toon Squad?
The Toon Squad.
Goon Squad. There you go.
That's the like some sports teams have like, oh, this is the dog pound, like, and it's a row, and then the Goon Squad is like front row, and it's just the worst looking guys you ever seen, just rubbing their dicks, dude.
Masturbate all day.
Every one of them has the fucking Dune popcorn bucket that looks like a fleshlight.
Yeah.
They're just sticking their dick in.
In the front row.
Yeah. Oh, you have to take women's sports seriously. No, we're just kidding, dude. We love women's sports. I love them more than men's sports.
Goon all day.
You'd love Goon.
I love
the Goon Squad, dude. And then they became the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Okay.
Literally one of the worst.
Dumb.
So dumb. Just go back to California Angels.
Yeah.
Because they're in Anaheim.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to do with LA, but they're like, oh, but we want to be LA's other team.
Yeah.
And then after they did that, the LA Dodgers got good again. Like they got really good again. So it's like they lost. Because it's like, yeah, I was root for the Dodgers. They have like a better history than the Angels. But yeah, Minnesota Twins, it's the Twin Cities. Minneapolis,
Gotcha.
St. Paul. So Minnesota Twins. So we don't have to say Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a cool name, but yeah, Minnesota Timberwolves. That spot, usually it's Minnesota because like the Twin Cities are like, it's a big metropolitan area, but neither of the cities is like super like huge.
Okay.
I think both of the cities combined maybe have 1 million people.
Okay.
As opposed to, San Diego has like 1 million people. San Jose has like, I think a few million.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game was fun. And then we went out to dinner. One of my cousins looked at my car and it said something in Spanish. I'm like, Yo comprende. Yo comprende, cabrón. I know what you're saying, dude. I know what you're saying. Yo comprende tu hablas. I know what you say, dude.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. What is he saying? It's too much, too extra?
Yeah, but whatever, dude. That's fine, dude. I'm fucking balling, dude. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you can't keep up.
Yeah. Get with it, okay?
Yeah, get with it, dog. I'm sorry, dude. You don't drive the same fucking you don't drive in style like me, dude.
You don't rent the same car that I do.
Yeah. And also sometimes you shake someone's hand, and if it's a really brittle handshake, you're like, oh, I don't care. I don't care what you say. I shook you when I was in Vista last night.
Yeah.
A lot of firm handshakes.
Okay.
It's weird because it's like, you know what I've noticed? Because I've been on the road and like shaking hands, and I'm like, I think California has a lot more hard handshakers than people realize.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's a lot more bros and like hillbilly. There's a lot there's actually a lot of like man's men in California. It's just like the cities are like, progressive or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've shook every fucking person's hand I shook at the show last night was like fucking, oh, I gotta bring it, dude. Yeah. I gotta bring this handshake right now.
You're like, oh, like, and then strong handshakes, firm handshakes, and then you're like,
but nobody's trying to crush you. No one was trying to crush you. Just everyone was firm. Everyone was like, put her there, pal.
Yeah. Hey, brother.
It shouldn't have said that. But yeah, so then we had dinner, and then we went to the Minneapolis Arboretum, which is like it's not a botanical garden. I guess botanical garden is like more flowers. This was like trees and shit.
Okay.
And it was just like a nice day. We took the old ladies out.
Yeah.
My grandma and her sister, and we're walking around, and
yeah,
good times.
For sure.
I was I had stopped so I've been abstaining from like porn.
Yeah.
And then I got to the hotel room, and then I turned the TV on, and it was a women's softball game.
Yeah.
And a chick had just hit a home run, and all the other chicks were like grabbing her and like smacking her ass and grabbing. And I was like, "Fuck, dude! Try not to watch this shit. Like, you can't even escape it."
Yeah,
it's like, dude, if if I'm like trying to like, I'm gonna fucking work on myself, dude. Oh my
enough
God.
to jar one loose.
You don't get to, right? You go to the gym, dude. It's,
yeah.
You know what? It's time. It's the attack of the big fat asses at the gym, and no, girls aren't wearing underwear. Probably.
Yeah.
And they're wearing that like yoga pants that like go, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying not to think about this shit.
Yeah.
So like the chick sets up right in front of me in the squat rack, and I'm like, I'm on the treadmill. I'm looking every other direction, dude. I'm just like, fucking, Can you say, like, every squat rack is empty except for that. Yeah. Like, she just picks the one right in front of me. I'm like, God damn it, leave me alone.
You go to the gym and put on sunglasses.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that you're looking at him.
I win. Oh, I also went to my cousin's softball game, and I met up. I got there late, and so I'm like walking in, and then I'm like, oh, I feel weird. I'm like a single guy going to like a girls' softball game.
And I'll look at you like, I know what this guy's doing.
Yeah. I'm just scouting talent.
Yeah.
No, but it was her team won, dude. My little cousin, or second or third, I don't know. Her team fucking destroyed the other team.
Yeah.
And it's
you get way too into it. You're like, yes. Oh,
I'm like, yeah. Like, she can't hit you. Like, I'm at a girls' basketball game. I'm like, she can't guard you. She can't guard you.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm like, eat her lunch, dude. I'm talking mad shit, dude.
Fundamentals.
I'm like, you put that bitch on a poster after she makes a free throw.
And she 1 out of 2 free throws. You're like, yeah.
But yeah, and then the women, like, none of the dudes were cheering, and I was like, is that a thing? And then one of the ladies was like, let's go, Deborah! Deborah! And then I was cheering. I was like, yeah! And my voice is so deep. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, am I not supposed to do... I don't know what etiquette is anymore. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if like some lady was like... She like rolled up, is like, actually, men... This is a no men's speech zone. You're not allowed to cheer.
No cheering allowed.
No cheering from men. Mm-hmm. Just we don't feel safe.
Yeah, for cheering.
But yeah, the other team, dude, my little cousin's team fucking rocked the other team. Dude.
Yeah,
it was bad. They put up like 10 runs in the first inning.
Oh, Jesus!
And it's a tournament, so they were like on a time limit. And then, so they're not going to go the full. I think they do 7 innings. They're not going to.
Yeah.
Actual base, or like baseball is supposed to be 9, but like in Little League and like the softball, I think is like 7, or maybe it might be 9. I don't know. But they put up so many runs that they literally had somebody try to steal and get picked off just so they wouldn't call the game then and there, so they could keep playing the game.
Yeah.
They batted they call it batting around. So you got 9 players, 9 hitters. If everyone reaches the plate once in an inning, that's called batting around.
Okay, yeah.
And I think they made it they batted around before they made one out.
Oh wow!
And then the outs were just like no strikeouts. They were just grounding out, and then they had a girl run into like a pickoff so that they didn't call the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they rocked them, dude. And I was like, I feel bad because I feel bad for the other team.
Just to be, just not have a fucking shot.
Yeah. But also, I do feel better. I feel less bad for like women in sports when they lose. Because like when I see a man losing in sports, I'm like, oh, dude, he's gonna write a manifesto later.
Yeah,
like, dude, he got crushed, dude. He's gonna go start a fucking 4chan thread about fucking toppling the government.
But no, that's pretty cool. Good trip. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
Except for that, what is it, 2-hour layover or whatever? Do you do anything on a flight? You said you read, right?
Oh, I read, listen to podcasts. I caught up on a lot of podcasts, but I haven't been listening to that many because I noticed sometimes I'll just repeat shit without thinking about it. I'm like, oh, am I thinking my own thoughts?
Yeah.
But I also had to stop listening to podcasts, some political stuff, because it's like, oh, my head is like getting really bad, right? Like,
yeah.
Like you think that the world is collapsing. It's like it sort of is, but not right where you are. Mm-hmm. And so that's important to keep in mind. But I read a lot. I didn't read as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
I finished a book on an airplane before, but it was like 100-page.
Yeah.
It was a Korean like legend. It was about it's called The Story of Hong Gil-dong.
Yeah.
Which is literally that's the guy's name.
Yeah.
I'm not even being racist right now.
Yeah.
That's going to be later. But Hong Gil-dong is a legendary Korean. So in Korea, they used to be called. It was like the Joseon dynasty or something like that. Like they have eras. Like the Chinese have like the Tong dynasty. They got the I think it's Qing dynasty, and the Joseon dynasty or something, or era, and they have concubines. So like a man has a wife, and his children with his wives are like his like they're his main piece.
Yeah.
And then he has the side pieces. He has the side children.
Yeah.
And the side children weren't allowed the same like level, like they didn't have the same opportunities as the main kids. But Hong Gil-dong
sounds. So it's good though.
Yeah.
Just hearing dong.
Dude, the legendary Italian hero pizza pasta linguine. Gabagool ravioli, the famous Italian.
I want to hear about that guy.
Yeah. The famous Jewish hero Matzah Chabad.
Yeah.
Hong Gil-dong is a side child.
Yeah.
I forget what they call them. They call him something. And then it turns out he's actually like incredibly smart and gifted and strong and cunning. And he goes about showing everyone that like, oh, I'm a side child, but I'm every bit as worthwhile as like the main children.
Yeah.
Right. And his wife pays some like assassin to kill Hong Gil-dong. And so I don't know, it's some weird thing where like Hong Gil-dong is like studying the classics, and he's like a child that like is so good at martial arts that he basically does magic. And then I think the assassin like comes to kill him, and then he just like does a magic spell, and like the assassin kills himself.
Yeah.
And then Hong Gil-dong goes about just like fucking like running the world. Like he leads an army of bandits, and then he has his own country. He leads his own country. And then he just like ascends into heaven at the end of the book, and it's like this sounds like a child wrote it.
Yeah, just
It's like the legend of the cool guy McGillicuddy.
Yeah, just
and then he was 14 having sex and everyone came and he didn't come too quickly. He came whenever he wanted, and then he tried skateboarding and he pulled off a 900 on his first try. And then he could take a girl's bra off with like one hand.
Yeah, and he has his own PlayStation.
Yeah.
And he gets bagel bites whenever he wants.
He wins all the games. Like he doesn't die. He doesn't need cheat codes in Grand Theft Auto. He beat Contra on the first try.
Yeah. He just and then this. Yeah.
Like when they talk about like Kim Jong-il, they're like, oh yeah, he broke the record. He like got 5 holes in one golf match. But it's like people play their entire lives and never get a hole in one, and they're just like, okay, well, it kind of sounds like
just bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, my dad is actually Hulk Hogan. Did you know that? My dad is Hulk Hogan.
My dad could beat up your dad.
Yeah.
As a kid, that argument, it's like, when would parents ever be like, all right, we got to fight because our kids said.
Yeah. I don't know. If I had to fight another, I would never fight them straight up, dude. I'd fucking first blood them, dude. I'd be like, dude, I'd be in the cafeteria. I'd be painted like Meatloaf.
Yeah.
And then I like emerge, and then I just I take a knife and like I fucking slit his throat.
And just as dirty as you can.
Yeah.
But
I'm like actually the mascot. I'm like the high school mascot, and I take my hat off, and then
take the helmet
and then I have fucking Rambo paint all over my face. Oh yeah, so I read a lot on planes.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I was like thinking, I'm like, I haven't flown in a while, but it was just a short trip just to Texas. And I'm like, I got games on my phone. So I'm like, solitaire, Tetris, all damn day.
Yeah.
And then recently, I guess since that, I'm like, I have a Switch. So I'm like, if I traveled, I would just play Switch. I'm like, yeah. Could I read? I'm like, yeah, no.
Well, I just have to read. But it's, people like feel weird. Like they're like, oh, you read? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I am better than you, but in a way, I am better than you in a way that doesn't matter. Like I'm like the best at playing Pogs.
Mm-hmm.
It can't really help you. It feels smart, but it's like you can read a bunch of like. I was looking at some people read the numbers of books they read. It's like, oh, I read 100 books, and then you look at it and it's all like it's like vampire erotica, and it's like that's not a fucking book. You're reading porn.
You got nothing.
It's like,
out
oh
of it.
damn, dude! I watched the most fucking foot videos on Pornhub. Look how important. You're just reading that. You're just reading pornorography.
Yeah, you're on the fucking
It's not an
Goon
actual
Squad.
book. Yeah, you're on the Goon Squad, dude.
Yeah.
I've read a few books. I read We Can Build You. It's a Philip K. Dick book.
Yeah.
Which is it's a little different than a lot. It's like a love story, but they make androids, and they make an android of Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of State, Edwin M. Stanton, and then they make an android of Abraham Lincoln, and this guy the main character falls in love with a schizophrenic girl who's like incredibly like mean and nasty, but like it's because she's distant. Like it's not that she's mean for the sake of being mean. She just looks at people kind of like from this very, very far, like remote place in her mind. Like she doesn't engage with people. People are just kind of like things to her. And he falls in love with her. And of course, like while they're trying to sell these androids to this billionaire. Or in the book, it's a multi-millionaire, which I like in science fiction books. They're just like, oh yeah, it's the future, but millionaires. I'm like, oh, you didn't understand inflation? You didn't think that there'd be like people? Do you think they're just the same amount of money forever?
Yeah.
And then the Abraham Lincoln android like coaches him through his like mental illness, which is also Abraham Lincoln suffered from real bad depression. This is a crazy thing. I was like, when I read about history. And people are so soft now. I was like, no, Abraham Lincoln had very intense periods of like psychotic depression.
Okay.
He was incredibly indecisive. And it was like, yeah, I think he was engaged to a girl who died. And then later when he was going to marry Mary Todd Lincoln, he disappeared, and his friends found him like holed up in a cabin with like the windows covered, and he was like going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And then also Douglas MacArthur, General Douglas MacArthur.
Mhm.
His mom used to make him wear a dress as a kid.
Yeah.
And then when he went to West Point, his mom moved, like she got a house like across the street from West Point. And it's like, well, that guy was like the most decorated general in American history. And he used to wear a dress.
Yeah.
So maybe the problem is the army isn't woke enough.
Yeah, need to be more woke.
Yeah, we need to make everyone fuck each other like Alexander the Great. No, I'm just kidding. No, we need to put like fleshlights in the tanks.
Just a suck machine.
Yeah, suck machine. What if they put the tank in a dress?
They paint it pink.
Psychological warfare, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, your village got blown up by a pink drone.
Yeah.
That means you're gay.
It's dressed up like a princess.
Yeah. It's got a tiara.
Yeah.
The fighter jet has
Princess
a tiara.
Peach drone fucking kills you. Your whole village.
So I read that one, and then I read Their Eyes Were Watching God, which is a novel by a African-American female author.
There you go.
So guess what? Now I get to be racist and sexist. That's what I do. Like whenever people are like, you're being a little too much. I'm like, oh, really? Well, I read a book by one of you people. So now
you could say, yes, queen.
Yeah, now I get to say stuff.
Yeah. I earned it.
What even like, oh, I read so much black literature. Do I get to say the word now? Like it's like a pizza. It's like a Pizza Hut token for reading. You're like, dude, I've read all the Ibram X. Kendi books.
A personal pin.
You get your personal, you get one free N-word usage.
A personal pan N-word.
Yeah.
You're like, I earned this. Well, he did. He has the coin.
Well, you can say it.
That's good.
And then I read The Prince by Machiavelli, dude. I'm becoming more cunning.
Yeah.
I've increased my guile significantly. I put a few stat points in my guile.
Yeah.
It's all about he was an ambassador, and it's all about like how a prince should rule. And like Prince also could be like the leader of a republic.
Yeah.
He just says Prince. But also Tupac was into it. He was really into Machiavelli.
Yeah.
He had a lot of songs referencing Machiavelli. Short book, but it's really good.
Mm-hmm. So I've never read the book or know much of the story. I had a buddy who was just like, was there something involving 7? Like doing things 7 times or lucky number 7 or something like that?
Like a self-help philosophical book.
Well, because like a buddy, he would do everything 7 times. Like he would check his door that it was locked 7 times.
Well, 7 is the lucky number. Your friend just has OCD. You don't need to read. You don't need to read a book to have OCD.
He totally did. And
what do you think mental illness is? You think you just read a book or watch a movie? You watch Rain Man, and you become autistic.
It's a buddy of ours, like because he was like, oh, he was selling drugs, so he'd always check his trunk.
No, he just had OCD.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's like,
he just had OCD.
And then his door, and I'm like, if they wanted to break down that door, it's like, that door is made of cardboard.
No, but I get it. I have that now where my OCD is just like you gotta go home and check to make sure you didn't put the stove on. And I was like, I didn't use the stove at all, but my brain's like,
yeah.
If your house blows up,
and just like
everyone's gonna say you're an idiot.
Put the clothes in the stove, put the pizza in the dryer,
put the pizza in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So I've been reading a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
I finished. So I finished those. The Prince was really good. Very short. Too. And then you like feel like, that's the thing. A lot of those like classics, like The Art of War, is like literally 50 pages with a sentence on each page.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm reading The Art of War. I'm like, well, you're okay. You're also doing a coloring book in between.
You baby.
It's an incredibly short book.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. I guess it's like supposed to be like read and then contemplated more so than just powered through.
They make like adult coloring books, right?
Yeah.
Not like porno coloring books, but like it's like geared towards adults. Like
It's at the adult daycare. It's like daycare, but it's erotic.
Erotica. I feel like I had a girlfriend who's like, oh, she got one of them. I'm like, I'm just gonna shut up. But it's also like,
I mean, it's basically just do crossword puzzles and like word searches. That's basically what an adult coloring book is. Mm-hmm. But it's supposed to be calming.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is like, people are looking for like these very, I don't know. I don't want to say condescendingly. It's a little juvenile forms to relax, but it's like we also just are overstimulated all the time. So it's like if we just remove the stimulation, then we wouldn't have to like do all this extra shit.
Yeah, I feel like
we just weren't being fucking bombarded with messages all the time.
I feel like I have plenty of hobbies that I just haven't gotten into in a while. I used to draw all the time. I used to love doing that.
Yeah, you're a great artist.
Now I feel like, I mean, I have the time, and I'm like, but I'm just like, I just don't dedicate it to that. And then I think about, editing videos. So I'm like, it took some time to learn how to do that. And I like kind of crunch time. Like when we recorded the James episode. I was like, I'll figure out how to do this.
Yeah. I was like,
I was like, I'll figure this out as I'm doing it. I'm like every corner I caught a ration of shit doing it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Me and technology. Like I'm learning, I know enough to like get some stuff done, but I don't know if you're like this with, when you're doing something, uploading a video or computer shit, you're just like, this isn't working. Why isn't this fucking working? And then I'm like, God, I'm getting pissed. I'm like, okay, stop, Google it, try and figure this out. And I'm like there was for Final Cut, it was just like, hey, 90% done. Stop. We're done. We can't do this anymore because a frame 16,000 whatever was wrong.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
that'll happen.
And then it just like start over again. And I'm like trying to Google. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
I have a hard time because my attention.
Yeah.
So, I make fun of mental illnesses that aren't as cool as my mental illnesses.
Yeah. These losers.
I'm the elite, dude.
Yeah.
But I think ADHD is like, it's all actually just trauma responses. So it's like, it's not like a separate thing. But if I'm like have to wait for loading something, I'll start doing something else.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get confused because I'm like multitasking.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't been trying as many new things like that.
Yeah.
I should, but I have an old laptop and I feel guilty about spending money to like get a new one.
Yeah. You would have to justify getting it. Like, I'm gonna get this because I'm gonna use it for X, Y, Z.
I'd probably get like a Mac because it has editing software on it already, right?
Yeah, you can get starts with iMovie. I do a lot of shit with that. iMovie's great for editing podcasts with Kyle, Tone Jerks, and then now we're video format here.
Yeah.
I figured it out. I got it, folks.
Brian did it.
I did it. I overcame my.
It's the only thing that prevented me from replacing you with AI.
Yeah.
You finally.
And I'm like, okay, learned how to do the editing with 3 cameras because I'm like, okay. I was even talking with a buddy of mine who's a photographer, and he, gets paid gigs and stuff like that. And I was talking to him about editing with Final Cut, which he also uses, and explaining like, my process and what I've learned and stuff like that. He's like, oh, it's like you figured out and learned more shit than I do. I'm like, cool. It's like you got to just keep it up because it's like you're figuring it out. And I'm like, you're doing it your own way and didn't go to fucking school for it. And I'm like, yeah, keep it up. You're going to get better at it. I'm like, cool. And I know, to share the podcast with, off the rails, but I'm like, I did share it with like friends of mine who are like videographers and do like video editing and stuff like that. I'm like, can you just take a look at it? I'm like, I don't expect you to watch the whole fucking thing. It's an hour and a half. Watch like a few minutes of it and they're like, oh, you did a great job. I'm like, yeah. Always just like some of that, affirmation. But I sent it to Kyle and Kyle's like, oh, you did a great job. It was a great episode. And he's like, I know that guy. Like he's just from commercials and shit.
Yeah. Oh, straight. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I'm like, okay, cool. So just kind of, not that I'm like, I needed it. I'm like, tell me I'm good. But I'm like, friends are like,
you gotta
hey.
make sure it looks good. I mean, I was just watching, I've been hanging out with my friend Vince and he's, he's handicapped. So he like watches a lot of shit.
Yeah.
He can't like move around super easy. So he's showing us the lead singer from the band The Misfits is making movies now. His name is Danzig.
Yeah.
And he was showing me this full-on movie that was like released, probably limited theatrical release. And it's a vampire western.
Yeah. Okay.
And the editing is awful. Because he started, I guess Danzig is editing it himself.
Okay. Yeah.
And the sound mixing from a guy who comes from a music background.
Yeah.
There's like no music, and the way like there's a scene in a saloon.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a coffee shop. Like it's like the sound sounds like kind of muted, but like the background noise of like a coffee shop. And it's like, if you feel bad about what you're doing, somebody's doing it way worse.
Yeah. It's like, well, if I wanted to do something, I think that's one. I'm making an excuse for myself, but I'm just going to go for it. It's like one of the reasons why it took 80 episodes to get a video out is because they didn't and couldn't look how I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And then because I put my own, like, things of like, oh, it should be like this. Like, there's like studios and like podcasts and stuff like that are like, they have so much money and shit production behind it. They pay a guy to do this. I'm like, well, I want it to doing that good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I'm part of Off the Rails, but I'm also like, if I'm doing the producer editing thing, I'm like, I want to be the best that I can. And so when I was like, doing that one, I'm like, what I need is what I wanted is a 3-camera setup.
Yeah.
So look at like the older, like, Are You Garbage episodes. I'm like,
yeah.
Had the main with Kippy and Foley, then they had each individual mic or cameras. I'm like, yeah, that'd be look cool because editing would be better and then more interactive. And I'm like, that's what I want. I'm like, well, why am I putting that level to myself?
Yeah,
because it's just like, I don't know. I mean, that's just how I
don't know. I mean, I know we talked about this in the podcast last time, but it's like the amount of polish, but then the complete lack of substance. Of a lot of podcasts where it's like, yeah, you're in a studio. I don't know. Maybe people think I'm not interesting, but guess what, dude? If you tell me that, I'll find you. I'll come to your house. I will hunt you down.
You up.
I have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah.
These particular set of skills is called mental illness. And I will come to your house. I'll find out where you live. I'll come to your house and I'll sell you some magazines.
Yeah. And then, I mean, not to talk about the podcast on the podcast, but it's like, oh,
you try to cut me off before I finish threatening the
audience. We already got the reader and we got this other guy.
Yeah.
But it was just like the hit list, San Diego reader, that everything on it.
Yeah. And then the reader calls me and apologizes, and it's like that scene in Billy Madison where like I fucking crossed off the list and then I put on lipstick. And then I put on the cramps or something.
Yeah, that's good. But it's like a thing, yeah, like you had mentioned of like, oh, the polish has to be there, but it's also like, okay, we've gotten the format down of the you and me episodes. I'm like, okay, and then when we have a guest, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna figure that out because I know we do want to have more, we can
have more guests
on, and so I'm like, oh, that will be kind of for me as a producer or whatever. I'm like, okay, stepping more or pulling back more into like that role. I'm like, being like Gardini or Toby or Jamie, pull that up. So I get a computer screen.
Yeah, AI Brian, pull that up.
Yeah. So but that was kind of something for me. I'm like, okay, like if I needed to learn how to do something. So like taking something of like, okay, I don't know how to learn this, or I don't know how to do this. I have to teach myself something. So I'm like, and that was, so people are like, yeah, no shit. You figure that out. And I'm like, I don't know why you didn't know how to do that. I'm like, I didn't. I had to teach myself that. So I'm like,
well, the perfectionism kind of slows you down because like you want it to look good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of procrastination is just people like being scared of it not coming out right.
Yeah. And I have buddies who do like make a living off of doing like guitar music reviews on YouTube. And his whole thing is like, if you learn along the way, just start doing it.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, and I'm like, oh, cool advice, but I'm not going to take that because I want it to be the best that I can, and I'm going to slow my process down.
Forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what stand up like forced me to do that, where it's like you just have to go and do it, and it's going to be bad most of the time, at least when you're first starting off, and it's not. You're gonna have sets where like you did good, and you're like, I fucking bombed.
Yeah.
I fucking bombed so hard. Because you just feel like you left something on the table, but that's better than being delusional, which a lot of people I see, they don't have a good gauge of how they do, and I'm like,
or maybe they think they can't improve because they're like, oh, I'm the best already, right?
No, I don't know what is in some people's minds because like I hear a pop, and some people I've never heard them get a pop like that, and I'm like. They're like, oh, I'm not getting booked enough. And I'm like, I mean, you're bad. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a thing is like, yeah, you can delude yourself sometimes. Like sometimes your ego takes over.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, dude, I got one girl's number. I'm gonna get all the girls' numbers. Oh, I fucking right. Like I hit a home run in softball. Fucking next blade up, you get big on yourself. But it is like there's a feeling you have when you're like. At your peak, or like at least like peak performance, like not like your peak in life, but like you got a peak performance.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people I'm like, I don't know what you don't get that pop. And I'm like, that's the goal, is if you're doing stand-up, you get that pop. Like there's some people when they come in, and this isn't just for stand-up, it's like for like baseball games, they bring in a closer. There's like an energy shift. Like you feel the guy, he's running from the fucking bullpen. He's got his intro music, dude. It's fucking heavy metal. And then he fucking goes on, you know, like the energy. Like a wrestler, you just hear the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin glass shatter.
Yeah.
Some comics, you see them go up before they even say anything. There's just like an energy up there. But yeah, to get to that point, you just have to go and try it. But it isn't a thing. It's like it forced me to be in the moment, because I would get stuck a lot of the times, like with you. Like I want it to be perfect. It has to be perfect because I need to be perfect. I gotta crush. And if I don't, it's like an indictment of who I am as a person, right? There's a baseball player, Ty Cobb, who vicious racist, but great. Like he was the greatest player of all time before Babe Ruth. Yeah, and Babe Ruth replaced him. But he had a roommate that he, you know, they play baseball like spring training, like they have to sleep in the same hotels, like, and he would always get home. Like he would rush to the bathtub and use the bathtub first. And then one day his teammate like pretended he faked an injury and he went to the hotel room and he took a bath first, and Ty Cobb got there and like literally like seething. He was like, "Don't you understand? I have to be first. I have to be first." Yeah. And so that's what would stop me a lot of the times from like trying and failing, was like, if I fail, I am a failure, and not that I failed because failure is an inevitable possibility of trying anything. It was like something on me. But stand-up like forced me to, like, you have to just go up. And if it's going bad, you can turn it around, but you just have to be up there. Yeah. And you can fucking write jokes or whatever, but you're still in the moment. You have to just wing it. Sometimes you just have to like fucking, no, I can't prepare for this. I can't plan for this. I have to just deal with whatever situation confronts me.
Yeah. And then always, I don't know, I think every time I try something new for the most part, or I'm learning something, I'm like, I'm never like, oh, this is it, this is the best I can do. I'm like always trying like take something away from it. So like I'm like, oh, different angles or different lighting techniques or whatever for the video. I'm like, oh, this is fun. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, oh, this is another thing that I'm into. It's like, oh, I'm like, oh, I like drawing, I like doing this, editing video, doing recording of music and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I think the biggest thing is just like having a job. I'm like, I gotta get rid of this fucking job so I can just have more time to do shit.
Yeah. Well, sometimes like being unemployed is like, it's nice for a while, but then you just have this like boredom that forces your like mental energies inwards. Yeah. To like anxiety and depression. And it's like a lot of work, a lot of jobs are just kind of busy work. You're just there to like, you're waiting for the phone to ring. You're really not doing something, but like you're kind of occupied.
Yeah. When I had kind of more of an office job, there's a lot of times where I can just kind of like fake that I'm doing stuff, because you show people a bunch of paperwork and all this stuff, like, oh, these are emails that I'm going through, and then they're like, oh, nice. Yeah. And you just answer the phone when anybody calls. It's like, oh, Brian's killing it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dude, no, I answer the phone so fast, dude.
I'm just answering the phone because nobody fucking else wants to do it.
I have a great customer service phone voice. Like it changes.
Yeah, no. Well, here not to be offensive, but here we go. So at my work, I'll answer the phone.
Whoa, Brian.
At my work, I'll answer the phone, and then I'm like, thank you for calling. This is Brian. How can I help you? That's how I sound. Whereas I'm like,
your voice goes up an octave.
Hey, how can I help you? Yeah. Oh, what can I do for you? Oh no, yeah, I totally understand. And then I hung up the phone, and then a coworker of mine he happens to be a gay man. He was like, "So, is your customer service voice just gay, Brian?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you like a high pitched voice, really like light tone." I'm like, "Do you think that's disarming to people?" I'm like, I never noticed that. Like I pick up the phone, like, thank you for calling. This is Brian. How can I help you?
Well, that just goes to show how
how's it going?
that goes to show how homophobic gay men are, and we should punish them.
He's
for
like,
being hateful.
he goes at me like, look here, pal, you're stealing my bit.
Yeah. No, it's just like, I don't know, because do you think is that an affectation for gay men? Or
I don't know.
Like, do you just naturally talk
gay? Yeah, that's probably it.
Because it's like, it has to be an affectation for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, but your voice just changes. It's like this. Like, also, you can't talk like that all the time.
Yeah, no.
Because then you'd be gay. It would make you be careful what you pretend to be, Brian.
Yeah. I just start dressing better.
Yeah. You lose a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Like abs and shit.
You're like, hey, this might be good for you.
Yeah. You start crushing puss.
No more CPAP.
I like that because there's like gay dudes who would like sleep with women, I think just as a flex.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, dude.
Hey, yeah.
The parade wasn't enough. You also need to do our thing.
Yeah, do our thing.
Steal our thing.
You steal my thunder?
Oh, speaking of stealing things, there's oh my God. There was a white girl on Instagram or something, and she went viral for or it's TikTok. She went viral for saying the N-word.
Oh shit. Yeah,
I'm like, hey man, that's our thing. Can you not steal racism too?
From white guys?
Yeah, women are trying to take over sports, and they're trying to take over racism, but they're bad at it.
Yeah.
They're almost as bad at racism as they are at sports.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm taking it back.
Yeah, I'm taking it back from them. We're trying to take it back from the people who took it back.
You're like,
but it's also like, dude, it's this viral shit is so lazy and like there's all these culture warriors who are just like, what if I said a bad word? Isn't this like rebellious when I say one bad word? I'm like, that's comedians' thing. We say bad words.
Yeah.
Why are you? Everyone is taking my things.
Yeah.
And I'm very upset about it.
We've been doing that since we were 12 years old. You went to the lunch tables.
Yeah, but like they're just doing it so they can like have a following and be like, this is what they're trying to do. It's like, shut the fuck up. Why don't you read a book?
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I have one joke that I riffed out.
Okay.
Before we get out of here.
Yeah.
It's been a long one. You know how you know how you could tell the Cybertruck isn't a real truck?
How so?
You can't fit any Mexicans from Home Depot in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You just have like a digital. You could fit like a Duolingo in the back. That's it. Dude.
That's it.
Yeah. It's like it's not an actual truck.
Yeah. Can't get any of the boys back there.
You can't get any of the boys back there, dude.
Yeah.
You can't like have your friends in the back with a baseball bat knocking over mailboxes.
Yeah, chasing Forrest
Your
Gump
friend
down.
is in the back with a laptop, like hacking people's email accounts.
I invested in crapped out.
We're the bad boys of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that truck sucks. So much dick.
It sucks, dude. It's lame.
Yeah.
I've been making jokes about people will respond to it really well, and I ask like, who has a Cybertruck, and then it's silence. I'm like, that can't be true. One of you motherfuckers drove here in a fucking Cybertruck, dude.
Yeah.
One of you motherfuckers drove up here in a gay Lego.
It's not even a Lego, it's Connects.
Yeah, dude, it's a Connects, dude. Oh boy,
Mighty Blocks.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah, it'd be better if the car was made out of Lincoln Logs.
Yeah,
you had a Lincoln Log car, look like some Mad Max shit.
More aerodynamic, I bet.
Yeah. Very fuel efficient because when you run out of gas, you could just like burn the wood. You just like take off.
It's all plastic.
Yeah. Oh, Lincoln Logs weren't actual wood.
Shit, maybe. I don't know if I had any. I was like Legos for sure, Connects for sure.
I feel like Lincoln Logs was a thing that might have come after Legos, but was like a more low tech kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Lincoln Logs is what the Unabomber would have given his children.
Yeah.
It's like this, you can't have this Euro trash fucking leftist bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make real shit with Lego logs and fucking Play-Doh. You have to construct a compound.
I remember Connects didn't take off as much as I thought they should. I was a big proponent. I'm like, Connects are fucking awesome. You can do so much shit with them. Yeah. I'd be like, nah, Legos are the way to go.
Legos are just easier. Connects is like you got to like fit things into the things. Legos, everything just clicks.
Yeah. Well, and definitely big Lego guy.
And also the little Lego figures are a big part because the little yellow guys.
Yeah.
That was a big selling part, I think.
Yeah, because you had your own guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably just threw him away. Oh, of course, like just throwing away old toys and shit like that. And I'm like, wish I had him. Wish I had him still.
Yeah.
A grown man with Legos.
No, people get into people. There's a lot of adults who are into Legos.
Yeah.
I met a. There's actually I have a joke about like autism is like you're either autistic or you just have too many Legos.
Yeah.
And this chick came up to me at a coffee shop. Was like, I have a Lego collection. And I was like, trying to get together. Maybe we put together a Death Star later tonight.
You want me to head over there?
Yeah. Maybe I help you put together a Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I had a coworker of mine. He was another manager, and I'm like, it was something. I'm like, I guess I kind of didn't need. I mean, it's cool, but he was like, him and his partner were like super into Legos. Like they had a room dedicated to like Legos.
Him and his Lego partner.
Lego partner, yeah. And I'm like,
we believe in traditional marriage,
and
like
podcast. The big ones, like the big Millennium Falcon,
man and
like,
his Lego partner.
I'm like,
that's the only legit marriage.
And I'm like, I guess this is what a dude in his late 30s could be into. I'm like, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? I mean, I like anime. What the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
To each his own.
Everyone's nerd. It's all kind of nerd shit anyways. Like Boy Scouts is like nerd shit.
Yeah.
Baseball was like kids were into like Cowboys, like that's a child. Those are children's movies.
Yeah.
Being a cowboy wasn't that cool. It sucked. Mm-hmm. That's why like most of the cowboys were like black and Mexican. They just made them do those because they were bad jobs.
Yeah. You're a cowboy.
It wasn't cool like in the movie. You weren't just a cowboy rolling around shooting people. They would have killed you.
With your 6-shooter.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, you want to bring it in for a landing?
Let's wrap things up. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Off the Rails. I've been your host, Austin Train. You can follow me on Instagram for happy pictures of my family and me. And you can follow me on The Artist, formerly known as Twitter, for excerpts from my upcoming manifesto. Follow me at Austin_Train. And you can follow Brian as he creates a petition to bring back Connects.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye.